The first light of dawn, February 28, 1994, painted the Bosnian sky with hues of pale orange and hesitant hope. At a secluded airfield near Banja Luka, a different feeling hung in the air, anticipation tinged with apprehension. 6 J-21 Jastreb fighter bombers, relics of a bygone era, stood armed and ready. Their mission, a daring daylight raid on a Bosnian army weapons factory, a target deemed crucial in the ongoing conflict. The pilots, veterans of countless sorties, knew the risks. NATO airspace, a stark reminder of the international community's presence, lay between them and their objective. For them, it was more than a no-fly zone. It was a line drawn in the sky, a test of their resolve, and a gamble with fate. The air was frigid, biting at exposed skin as the ground crews made their final checks. The roar of the Jastrebs' engines, a familiar symphony of defiance, shattered the morning calm. Among the pilots, a palpable tension, a shared understanding that this mission could be their last. They were about to tempt fate, to challenge a technologically superior enemy, and the stakes had never been higher. In the cockpit of the lead aircraft, Major Ranko Vukmirović, his face etched with determination, went through his pre-flight rituals. A seasoned pilot, he knew the odds were stacked against them. But for Vukmirović and his men, this was more than a mission. It was a matter of national pride, a fight for survival. The order to scramble crackled through their headsets. One by one, the Jastrebs roared down the runway, their afterburners leaving trails of fire in their wake. As they climbed into the cold morning sky, each pilot knew they were writing another page in the annals of Bosnian Serb military history. Below them, the airfield fell silent, the anticipation replaced by an anxious wait. The fate of the mission and the lives of 6 pilots now hung precariously in the balance. Theirs was a story of courage and desperation, a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of insurmountable odds. The J-21 Jastreb, once the pride of the Yugoslav Air Force, was now a symbol of a nation fragmented. Outmatched by the sophisticated F-16s patrolling the no-fly zone, these aging warriors were about to face their toughest challenge yet. Their onboard radar, rudimentary at best, offered limited situational awareness, forcing them to rely on low-altitude flying and cunning to evade detection. Their weapons, a mix of unguided rockets and freefall bombs, paled in comparison to the precision-guided munitions of their adversaries. Yet, within the cramped cockpits of these aging aircraft, beat the hearts of determined men. They were about to embark on a mission where skill and audacity would have to compensate for technological shortcomings. The Jastrebs, flying in tight formation, hugged the rugged Bosnian terrain, using the valleys and hills as natural cover. Every turn, every climb, was a calculated risk, a delicate balance between maintaining speed and minimizing their radar signature. They were ghosts in the machine, fleeting blips on NATO radar screens, difficult to pinpoint and even harder to intercept. Their flight path, meticulously planned, took them through narrow canyons and over densely wooded areas, exploiting every quirk of the terrain to their advantage. The pilots, their senses on high alert, scanned the skies for any sign of the enemy, their fingers hovering over the weapons triggers. Inside the cockpits, the tension was palpable. The roar of the engines, the constant vibration of the airframe, the faint smell of jet fuel, all served as stark reminders of the danger they faced. The pilots communicated in hushed tones, their voices betraying a mixture of fear and determination. They knew that the element of surprise was their greatest asset, and that maintaining radio silence was crucial to their survival. They were like phantoms, darting through the valleys, their presence known only to those who were looking for them. With each passing mile, the target drew closer, and with it, the realization that soon, they would be in the heart of the lion's den. The Jastrebs, having successfully navigated the initial phase of their flight, now approached the most dangerous part of their mission: the penetration of the no-fly zone. This invisible barrier, heavily patrolled by NATO forces, represented a significant hurdle. They were like trespassers in a forbidden land, their every move scrutinized by unseen eyes. The pilots knew that their survival depended on their ability to remain undetected for as long as possible, to slip through the net before it could close around them. Their flight path, carefully calibrated to avoid known radar stations and patrol routes, was a testament to their meticulous planning and intimate knowledge of the terrain. The order came from Vukmirović, his voice calm but firm. Prepare for high-speed, low-level penetration. Stay low, stay tight, and trust your wingman. The Jastrebs descended further, their altitude now barely clearing the treetops. They were flying on instinct and adrenaline, their eyes constantly scanning the skies for any sign of danger. The roar of their engines, amplified by the close proximity to the ground, echoed through the valleys, a defiant growl against the silence of the morning. They weaved their way through the valleys, their wings almost brushing the sides of the hills. The G-forces pressed down on their bodies, testing their endurance and resolve. Each passing second brought them closer to their objective, but also deeper into enemy territory. The pilots knew that the longer they stayed in the no-fly zone, the greater the chances of detection. They were like mice scurrying in the shadow of a hawk, their every move fraught with danger. The tension inside the cockpits was almost unbearable. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and fear, a potent reminder of the stakes involved. Their eyes darted between their instruments and the outside world, searching for any sign of threat, their fingers hovering over the weapons controls. They were living on borrowed time, and they knew it. Unbeknownst to the Serbian pilots, their daring incursion had not gone unnoticed. Deep within the bowels of a NATO AWACS aircraft, high above the battlefield, a blip appeared on the radar screen. The controller, his eyes glued to the glowing display, watched with growing concern as the unidentified aircraft maintained its course, heading deeper into the no-fly zone. The blip, initially dismissed as a flock of birds or a technical glitch, soon resolved itself into a formation of 6 distinct contacts. The telltale signs were all there: the speed, the altitude, the flight pattern. This was no ordinary civilian traffic. The controller, his curiosity piqued, tried to establish communication with the unidentified aircraft. Unidentified bogies, this is NATO AWACS, squawking mode 2. You are entering restricted airspace. State your intentions immediately. His words, spoken in English, were met with stony silence. The blips on the screen continued their steady progress, seemingly unfazed by the warning. The controller, his suspicions now confirmed, reached for his headset. We have a possible incursion, 6 bogies bearing 0905 heading 270, requesting vectoring interceptors. His voice, though calm and professional, betrayed a hint of urgency. The gears of the NATO response mechanism were set in motion. Within minutes, 2 F-16 fighting Falcons, armed and ready, screamed into the sky from a nearby airbase. Their mission to intercept and identify the intruders, and if necessary, use any means necessary to enforce the no-fly zone. The F-16s, sleek and deadly, were a stark contrast to the aging Jastrebs, equipped with advanced radar systems, long-range missiles, and a devastating array of weaponry. They were the embodiment of air superiority. Their pilots, highly trained and battle-hardened, were ready to meet any threat. The chase was on. The AWACS, acting as the eyes in the sky, vectored the F-16s towards the Jastrebs, guiding them through the valleys and over the mountains. The F-16 pilots, their adrenaline pumping, locked onto the enemy aircraft with their radar, their fingers itching to pull the trigger. They were like hunters closing in on their prey, the thrill of the chase mixed with the cold, calculated precision of seasoned predators. The fate of the Jastrebs and their mission now hung precariously in the balance.